I trained my dog how to walk off leash in about a week. For reference on the past of my dog, I had her in high school. I think I got her like freshman year and had her the 4 years in high school. We didn't train her at all. She walked on a leash. We live in the country, so she didn't really walk regularly. She was kind of doing her own thing. There she is, my cutie. As you can see, she is a Chihuahua. She's about 4 pounds. We don't have a fenced-in backyard, so she never went outside off leash. Then I moved out. I didn't take her with me. I moved out for 6 years. I just moved back in, and she's exactly where I left her. Untrained, unwalked. I grew a lot in those 6 years. I recognized that even though she's a small dog, she needs to be walked daily. I noticed that me walking her with a leash just felt weird. I wanted her to have that freedom, so I decided to train her. I have no experience training dogs. I had no idea what to do. I just kind of went for it, and she immediately loved it. I think she was looking for that freedom, and so she was willing to learn very quickly, right? She's an older dog. I don't exactly know how old she is, but and neither do my parents. But she's older, and that probably plays a significant role in how quickly I was able to train her. But like I said earlier, she truly has no formal training. If she did get off leash, she would just run away. Honestly, she just thought it was a game. You'd chase her, and she didn't even comprehend the sense of what a vehicle was. She would just run out, and it was like, ah. So, fast forward, I've been here for 2 weeks, and I made a commitment that I would walk her every day unless it was raining or snowing or, whatever. I really wanted her to know her neighborhood. So I wanted her to be off leash because I wanted her to have more freedom, but I also really needed her to know the neighborhood just in case she were to run away or get spooked or, I don't know, lost or whatever. I wanted her to know how to get home. So we started walking around the neighborhood, and we also live in the country. There's not a lot of people, there's not a lot of dogs, there's not a lot of cars. So, and there's not a lot of sidewalks either. So we were walking in the road with the cars and the people and the dogs, if there was some. So the rules that I had for her were very little. Like I said, I really wanted her to have that freedom. So she was allowed to sniff around for however long she wanted. She was allowed to go in anybody's yard as long as it wasn't a fenced in yard, and because she's so small that she can fit in between fences and stuff. So like, absolutely not. If I can't fit in, she's not going, right? She can't stay in the yards for an unreasonable amount of time, but she can sniff around. This is her very first day, right? This is her first day off leash, the most freedom she's ever had in her whole life. So, yeah, she's gonna sniff. Yeah, she's gonna wanna like see her boundaries. She doesn't even know the boundaries. So, of course, she wanted to go in people's yards and walk in the street and like walk right in the middle of the street, and she just wanted to go anywhere. And I said, okay, she can sniff as long as she wants, as long as it's not poop or trash or something disgusting, and I'll just wait here. She could go wherever she wanted. If she wanted to go left, we would go left. If she wanted to go right, we'd go right. Wherever she wanted to go, I followed her. I wanted her to know that this was her walk. This wasn't my walk, this was her walk, but she needed to follow my guidelines, right? I very quickly realized that she didn't know any commands. And she did know sit, although she didn't follow sit. She knew what it meant and she knew how to do it, but she didn't want to listen, right? The next day, I decided let's go onto the main road. That's where the cars are. She understood completely. She definitely comprehended not to go in that road as there's a bunch of cars flying by. So she stayed in on the sidewalk or the grassy area. The grassy area did make me very uncomfortable as it's 40 miles per hour on this road. So, and it's the country, like I said, so cars are going probably 60. And it did make me uncomfortable because I was like, I really don't want her this close because she still doesn't know any commands at this point, but I'm trusting her, right? I know that she's not stupid and we could do it. And we just walked onto the main road for just a little bit until we get into the neighborhood next to us. And she's relatively familiar, as when I was in high school, I did walk her on this road in the other neighborhoods sometimes, which was 6 years ago though at this point, and she hasn't been walked in other neighborhoods since I moved out. She's only been walked around the block. And day two is when we walked past our very first person and dog. And I definitely wasn't sure what to do, but she had a little bit more trust because she had much more freedom than she's ever had before. And guess what? She didn't bark. She didn't chase after them. She just stayed still. And in fact, she stopped right next to me. She just stopped. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe training her is going to be a lot easier than I thought. And I didn't train her with any form of treat system because I have former experience working with autistic children, and the reward system didn't work. It didn't work. I used the sticker system at one point very early on in my career, teaching these children how to be potty trained using the sticker system, and it was an epic failure on my part. Like, it didn't work. So I developed a system that did work, that didn't use rewards, right? Like, I wanted these children to use the bathroom in the toilet, on the toilet, because they wanted to, because it was more hygienic, because they didn't want to still wear a diaper, right? I wanted them to use the toilet because they wanted to, not because they wanted the sticker. So I kind of used the same philosophy and kind of had the same belief system going forward with my dog Bailey. I didn't want to use treats because I didn't want her to only listen to me if I had a treat. Day 3 happened and we walked around. She's got more comfortable. She definitely started begging a lot more inside our house because I didn't have a set time that I was going to walk her. I just had in my head that I was going to walk her every day. I did tell her I'd walk her every day, and she somewhat comprehended, right? I told her, hey, I'm going to walk you once a day. And like I said, I have no previous training, so I didn't know. She didn't know when I was going to walk her. So it would be like every hour she'd like come to me and be like, are we going for a walk now? When are we going? When? So there was a lot of begging. And I was like, oh my God, what? A few times I walked her twice a day, but like I said, she has never been consistently walked in her whole life. So if I walked her twice in one day, the next day she was almost so tired to even walk that the next day, right? So I've been keeping it at once a day. If it's super nice, I'll do twice a day, but it will be one of the 2 walks, and that day will be very short, like around the block, as she's working up her stamina. But we are on week 2 now. We're actually just over 2 weeks, and she has built up an incredible amount of stamina, which has been it's just been really cool to see. Today, actually, she crossed that busy street by herself, following my commands, which is incredible. So she now knows stop, wait, come, no, this way, vámonos. She knows a little bit of Spanish. Good girl. And she also knows. So at this point, we can pretty much go everywhere. Like I said, I want her to know this neighborhood really well. I want her to know the neighborhoods to the left and to the right and to the front of us, just so she is, no matter where she is, she's aware. And when a dog barks, she stops and looks at me to make sure that it's safe. We did have a dog come running after us, actually, and I did have to pick Bailey up. Their dog was a bigger dog, and their dog's parents were not saying any form of like, come on, no. They were just kind of watching. We all have different parenting styles. We all have different beliefs of how we should raise them and all this stuff. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. Bailey needs to learn, right? It was all good. It was a learning experience. Today, somebody did ask if they could pet her, and Bailey has been very clear that she does not like people petting her unless it's people she knows. That has been a little bit awkward because it doesn't matter if I say yes or no. Most people are already like bending down, reaching their hand out, and I'm like, whoa. Bailey stood her ground, but he put his hand out and she made it super clear that she did not want to be pet. She didn't growl or try to bite or anything like that. She just backed away and ran. And she looked at me like, are you coming? I was like, okay, well, bye. I was teaching her these commands at home. That's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to practice them when we weren't on the road. So I was like, Bailey, come. Bailey, sit. Bailey, stop. Bailey, this way. Um, just in the house. And not even a lot. Like, honestly, maybe 1 to 5 times a day. It wasn't like crazy. She rapidly started to learn, rapidly started to trust me. She very quickly realized that she was going to be walked every day. She was going to have this freedom. So naturally, she wanted to listen to me. She didn't want to run away. And she knew that basically she would get what she wanted. So why not just listen to the very small rules that I have? I might be missing some things. If you have any questions, I would be delighted to answer them in the comments. And go ahead and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Peace out.